Hi guys, today I'm going to speak about J.K. Rowling and the Scottish hate speech bill. I'm going to talk about transsexuals. Transsexuals, have they always been around? Transsexuals say they've always been around. They've been here around for millennia, but they've always been suppressed. There's always arguments. There's always something that says in some ancient Indian cult they were transsexuals and they were marrying a particular god. Or if you look at indigenous people, they always manage to find a photo of two men holding hands. If you look at very, very old literature, maybe 5,000 years ago, or some rites in Greece or Egypt, there's always going to be something where there was some cult, or there was something that was accepted, where there was transgender or gay or something like that. And the normal argument is that, in recent times we've suppressed it, but it's always been there. I work with indigenous people that are in the jungle, the Amazon jungle, and I went and asked them personally, and I said, has this transgender been in your culture? And they said no, it's never been in the culture. For 40,000 years or 10,000 years or however long we've been here, it's never been here. We've never had this in our culture. But in the last 2 or 3 years, it started to come out. And I asked, well, is this because you guys have suppressed it? Is this because, you guys don't like it, and now in the modern age, people feel as if they can come out much more easily? And he said, no, I don't think so. So what exactly is going on? Why is there a hate bill? And why is it now hate to misgender somebody? What's going on? And J.K. Rowling, she's one of the few women that I think actually stand up. She's quite brave and she's quite interesting. She's talented, she's educated, she's intelligent, she speaks languages. She's lived in other countries, she's got life experience. She writes interesting books, she writes about things that a lot of people don't. And I think she deserves respect. And she, after the hate bill was introduced the other day on Monday, she then called out 10 people as men who were transgender, who identify as women. Now, what I want to say is, this is curbing free speech. But why is it curbing free speech? What's the idea behind wanting to curb free speech? These laws are basically saying that if you don't like what someone says, and it can be something as small as someone calling you a woman when you're a man, or a man when you're a woman, you can go to the police and you can have them arrested. Now, the Prime Minister of Scotland has said, well, the law is very strong and it's very difficult in order to, the threshold of breaking a crime is quite high, or something to that effect. Basically, it means that, it's not easy just to go along and say, okay, this person's breaking a crime, they've misgendered me. But the problem is that you can use the police to harass people. You can use the police to go around to someone's house, and you haven't broken a crime, but they're knocking on your door, they're taking you to the police station, they're getting witnesses, they might arrest you, they might not prosecute you, but the whole process up to the prosecution, which never happens, is very stressful and difficult. And maybe you have to go through a court case and maybe you win, and that's very stressful, and it costs money, and it takes time away from your family, away from your work. You've got lawyers to pay, you've got stress of what's going to happen, you've got mental issues, mental problems. So the whole idea of, it's very difficult to prosecute somebody, just because somebody said something doesn't mean that you're going to go to prison or be arrested or go to court. No, it doesn't. But the process, using that as harassment, using the police as a weapon, weaponizing the police because you don't like what somebody said, is actually a form of control. And what happens is that people don't want to go and say things, and they're worried about the backlash, they're worried about the backlash. And the backlash might come from the people, and the people report it to the police. If there's enough people reporting it to the police have to do something. That means that celebrities can't speak out. J.K. Rowling is one of the few celebrities that actually speaks out. That is one of the good ones. You've got toxic people. Andrew Tate, one of the few celebrities which speak out. He's now being processed for charges, isn't he, of SA. Got Nigel Farage, which speaks out. And and he was hated until he went into Big Brother, and then they found out maybe he's not such a bad bloke. You've got other celebrities which speak out, like Kanye West, but he's crazy. Most celebrities, they're there for their big breasts and their figures, like Kanye West's wife, or Kim Kardashian, or Katie Price. You've got very few celebrities which are actually made it because of pure intellect, because of doing something that they, through their intellect, through their ability, they can resonate with the public. Many intelligent people who are scientists, they don't resonate with the common people because they are very different. It's very difficult to find a celebrity that can resonate with the people, that stands up against the modern narrative, because if they go up against the modern narrative, they get cancelled. Therefore, celebrities keep their mouths closed. How many celebrities know what P. Diddy has been doing, or R. Kelly has been doing? How many of them keep their mouths shut? How many of them keep their mouths shut about Jimmy Savile? How many of them about Schofield, who wasn't an SA, but they all knew what was going on? I don't think he did anything wrong, but they all kept their, did he do anything wrong? I don't know. I don't think so. Not legally. I mean, he was sort of targeted, but these guys, most people, they're cowards. Most people keep their mouths shut. Most people won't speak up. Most people run away because they're worried about losing fans, they're worried about losing money. Look what happened to Kanye West. Lost billions from Nike or Adidas or something like that when he dared say something that he believed in. Okay, it was anti-Semitic, or maybe you can argue it isn't anti-Semitic, but the establishment didn't like it, the people didn't like it. And the idea that the majority of people are always correct. I think Gandhi said something like, even if you're the only person in the room that has his view and everyone else disagrees with you, it doesn't mean that you're incorrect. The public, God save the public, God love the public. They do work in groupthink, and they are targeted by the media, and they do think how the media wants them to think. Most people watch TV. Most people read the newspapers. Most people go and do a 9-to-5 job. Most people are controlled by the system. Most people do what the system wants. Most people vote idiots into government. If everybody in the country thinks that the politicians are idiots, yet everybody votes them in. If everyone said, okay, fine, the politicians are idiots, we're not voting them in, we all refuse to vote, then that would really say something, wouldn't it? If 90% of the country refused to vote, then everyone would say, okay, we've really got to do something here. But nobody does. Everybody votes. Everyone votes for somebody to go into power and then hates them and writes nasty things about them. And so, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to say, no, the public are really intelligent, they're clever people. Voted Blair in. Blair took us to war. Blair caused every single young person that went to university nearly to go into debt, because now they've got to own money to the student loans company. He never paid anything for his university. He brought loads of immigrants into the country, which is now causing huge amounts of problems. His best mate Gordon Brown sold all the gold for 200, now it's worth 2,000. And then we might say, well, we don't have any power over who we vote in or who's in government. Well, if we don't have any power, we need to get the power back. And if getting the power back means refusing to vote, if 100% of the country refused to vote because they didn't have confidence in the fools in government, then maybe, we can change the system. So where's all this going? Why am I talking about JK? I'm talking about JK because I believe that the system, the government, the world is ill. I believe that transgender ideology comes from actually illness. I don't think that people are per se necessarily ill. I think they're an expression of the society which is ill. And it might be a natural reaction to the illness of a society. So I don't hate trans people, I don't hate gay people, but I do have a great dislike for a lot of heterosexuals when they piss me off. I don't know if that's funny. The society, I did a video yesterday about electricity, how society has changed with electricity. Society has changed so rapidly since the Industrial Revolution, which is like 1800s, bringing machines and technology into our society. Our society didn't have a machine, so the first machines are coming out, well, let's say the first steam machines are coming out in the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s. So man's been around, 200,000 years. So 200,000, okay, up until 1800. So for 200,000 years, let's say, they haven't had a machine, and then in 150 years they've had a machine. That machine vastly changes society in such a way that we've got to change lots of laws and ideas and ideologies. We've got to get children educated, we've got to get children to school, we've got to have protection rights for people working in industry, we've got to have healthcare systems, we've got to have cities and infrastructure. So suddenly, after 200,000 years, within a split second, you've got to come up with all of this new stuff which is coming instantaneously without a slow process to help us accommodate to the situation. The roles of men and women were defined by nature. They weren't defined by men, they were defined by nature. When we were cavemen, or when we were iron men or bronze men, or we were Neanderthal, what defined men and women wasn't us, it was nature. We depended on nature. We were in tune with nature. When the lights went out, we went to sleep. When the lights came on, we got up. When the seasons happened, we went to bed earlier, or we got up earlier. We had different foods, we had different plants to eat, we cultivated different things, we migrated. So nature was pretty much in control of our gender roles. The scientific thought for gender roles is more or less that men were hunter-gatherers and women stayed at home in the cave and, you know, did the foraging, you know, or cooking or whatever, I don't know. But I mean, if you look at all sort of societies, African societies, tribal societies, the sexuality is pretty much the same. I mean, they don't have like men and women, you know, men have to do this, women have to do that. I mean, it's pretty egalitarian. There aren't gender problems and, you know, the men have treated us like this, you know. There's always like stories of women making the decisions and, you know, men doing this, men doing that. They're happy. It's us that are unhappy. It's our technology that's made us unhappy. They're happy. We go back to these uncivilized people, so to speak, to go and find out, you know, actually how they manage to deal with gender policies and, you know, communities and things like this. So anyway, whatever's happened in the last 3,000-4,000 years of human existence, when we came out of nature and we went into so-called civilization where we killed and blew each other up and tortured everyone. So for instance, the Egyptians, the Syrians, Byzantine, Babylon, and all of that stuff, we get politics, we get writing, cuneiform, we suddenly have problems with women. And as the technology comes along, for a large amount of time, we've had gender wrong roles. The men have suppressed the women in mainly white society, but then in Indian society, yeah, most societies actually. Maybe not black society, but until quite recently, but definitely we've had a lot of problems. And this is an illness. Right? It's not right to live like this. It's an illness. And then we've had technology which has come out, and technology has changed us. It's changed our patterns. So for instance, we work when we should be sleeping. We get up when we should be sleeping and sleeping when we should get up. We have period days where we go from 9 to 5, and then we have 2 days off, which is weird because nature isn't like that. Nature doesn't grow grass 5 days a week and then have a holiday. We're separated from our families and communities, living in houses individually. We travel large distances in machines. We're polluting the world. We're changing the weather systems. We're changing our foods and diets. We've gone off one healthcare system, which is plants and having good immune systems, to reliant on not pastils, but drugs, pills, and hospitals. We've got plastics in our system. We've got illnesses in our system. We've got pollution in the atmosphere. We've got all of these philosophies. If you look, you've got Stoicism, mysticism, Gnosticism, Christianism, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism. You've got freedomism, post-freedomism, modernism, post-modernism. You've got all the philosophies in the Enlightenment. You've got existentialism. So we've got all of these different philosophies, and we're ill. And these different philosophies are basically energy. So they're basically just different energies, and these energies change our thoughts and our thinking. And as a result of that, our societies are ill. We mistreat the world, we pollute the world, we kill people, we shoot people up at schools, we do incest, we torture and eat, and cannibalism, we do SA, we do all sorts of stuff. We've gone crazy. We've turned into our own worst enemy, our nightmare. Those things that we make horror films of on television, we've now turned into. And that's happened as we've come out of nature. And we always excuse ourselves with technology. Oh, look how clever we are, we've built a car or a phone or something. You know, we can't be that bad because technology has redeemed us. It hasn't. The basic things in life we still have done bad with, you know, like loyalty, kindness, help, nature, communication, helping each other. We've done quite badly in that, and the technology has caused that. And then there's been a lot of changes in society as a result. The state looks after education, not the parent. The state looks after motherhood, not the parent. The state gives out money, not the community. The shaman has been replaced by the doctor. We now need lawyers and specialists. We live separated. And these are all energies, and these build up in our systems. And these change us, change who we are, what we are. And now we've become ill. We've got all sorts of illnesses. If you look at school, we've got illnesses. We've got depression. People cut their nose off, their fingers off. They cut bits of their legs off. They've got anxiety. They're in doctors' houses. They're in therapies. They're in psychology houses. They're in all sorts of illnesses. And you know, this is now seen perfectly normal. Therapy is now perfectly normal. And that is an illness of our society. It's normal to go to therapy. It's normal to be anxious. It's normal to have sexual problems. It's normal to be on medication. It's normal to have antidepressants. It's normal for anxiety. It's normal because everyone is on it. No, it's not normal because it shouldn't happen. Just because everybody does it doesn't mean it's normal. Just because everyone thinks it's that doesn't mean it's that. So what I'm saying is that we've got an ill society and our thoughts are ill. And we all have those ill thoughts in our society, and we think that because we've all got them, therefore we're right. And so when you bring out like an anti-hate law, if the majority of the people feel that something is hate, it doesn't mean they're correct. And it's very dangerous, and you're setting up precedents. So what happens is that you then can control the society through these anti-hate laws, and as a result you therefore mold the society, and you then instill and make strong and put foundations in for it to be ill, and you attack those people which are trying to defend it, like J.K. Rowling. Now, the problem isn't the trans people. The problem is why are we becoming trans? That's the problem. They say it's natural. They say it's always happened and they have a right to be trans. Yes, they do. Yes, you should. But I don't think that it has been always this case in the world. And I think there needs to be an investigation into why this is. You know, why are we coming like this? What's happened? What's going on? Because if we're going to start basing our laws on how trans people feel, and then we'll base our laws on how racist people feel, and then on how women feel, and then on every single other victim. Victimhood is an illness. And so we're basically building up a society developed from illness as a reaction to illness instead of curing the problem. Where's the cure? There is no cure. It's the same as doctors. Laws are the same as doctors. Doctors don't cure, they treat. And the politicians aren't curing, they're treating. They're making laws to stop people doing stuff, but they're not curing the problem. So if transgender is normal, then, you know, but you'll never find the truth now. You'll never find the truth because there's so many academics and doctors which have contrary views. We don't know what the truth is anymore. It's very difficult. But what I'm saying is that, you know, I think that we are an ill society and we're building laws off illness.